And it looks like I am live. I always double check, see what it says on there. I did not even tweet this out. I didn't pre-plan very well today. I mean, I wanted to. The goal was really to do that. But boy, for those of you that follow my channel, you may have noticed the lack of updated videos for a few days. Like the last one I did was the S1 video, I think. I mean, I still did the video with Jay. That has a lot less post-production work because we just publish it. But nonetheless, because there is so many things going on. Let me turn all the notices off my phone. I'm sure they're important, but not right now. All right. The new studio build has been occupying a lot of my time. It is so close to being done. But before we dive into that, that'll be my errata towards the end where I babble on about things. I wanted to start with the UniFi stuff. And I wanted to make a video on this. I said, I'll just talk about it in my live stream and rant about it and get people's opinions a little bit. I like to put this at the beginning because this is the title of this particular vlog. We're going to talk about the usage of UniFi in your business. And then we're going to do some, while I'm at it, I'll do some Q&A on here about this topic. So I will be repeating myself a lot because someone will join 20 minutes in and said, hey, did I miss the UniFi stuff? And I'm sure I don't have 20 minutes of UniFi content to babble on about. So let's start with the question comes up all the time. And it starts out almost always with what's a good alternative to Meraki? And I'm not here to pick on Meraki. I'm pointing it out as a popular post inside of different forums, inside of different business owner group forums for the IT MSP business owner space. And the reason they start with Meraki is because the licensing fees are so high. So it's just, and they're a big, big company. And it's not that I think they're bad necessarily, but you end up with people going, hey, I kind of pay a lot for this. What about different alternatives? Now, what you get when you get something like Meraki is, of course, not just license fees. That's the part you can easily dog on, but you're going to get a level of support that comes with it. And this actually goes for any of these commercial companies that have a bigger support channel. Now, here comes UniFi with all of their stuff. And these are just some random assortment of switches that are within grasp of me. And UniFi is obviously quite disruptive in the market, if you will. That is a overused buzzword, calling themselves market disruptors. But then again, last time I checked, I think they're in like the 17 billion range for their market cap. So they made a difference in the networking gear market. They're a popular topic because they don't have licensing fees. They allow you to self-host a controller. Those two things make them kind of a standout in the network business at all. And then there is the splitting hairs debate that a bunch of people have. And this is where those forum posts just go off the rails of people arguing whether or not it's actually a good solution, whether or not it's a professional solution. And then someone will throw in there, but the warranty is so much better on a commercial product from Meraki versus, and I'm going to guess you can call them somewhat, commercial products from UniFi. Now, any of the questions I have about what gear you should use is always going to start with, what are the use cases? What are the features you need to have? Because just comparing features of two different pieces of equipment, not relevant. What are the features you need for your project? That's the first question. And if the UniFi platform or insert any platform won't have the features that work for your project, then you just can't use that product unless you're willing to change the feature sets you have required. Moving on to the next question when it comes to support. Yes, absolutely. My understanding is, and I've never even bothered contacting them, but my understanding is from the chatter of the internet that the UniFi support is not great. That being said, there's also a bias you're going to have, and it's the signal to noise ratio. And one of the problems when you sell a product that anyone can buy is anyone can buy it and then complain about it online. So you have a broad market product, you have a broad market of potential complaints on a product. So you can end up with this bias, even if there is a legitimate problem with other brands. The brand required, if the brand's bar for entry requires a partner agreement, sign up, reseller agreement, etc., paperwork, business owner, can't be bought by normal consumers, you're just going to find less people online complaining about it because there's a reseller program that makes it more difficult. Also, it kind of falls on deaf ears. So it's a like there's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are places and groups and forums to complain about other gear, but none are near the scale and scope of the Ubiquiti forums or the subreddits for Ubiquiti. These are very, large forums where you can get a perception that there's a problem with a product. And that's where another option comes in. You can take the time to learn the product, or there's people like myself. And maybe I'm a little biased. I think we're pretty good at Ubiquiti support, and it's a niche we get into. So you save down the product, and this is where it starts breaking down to a more business decision for how you want to do this. So Ubiquiti is going to sell you this product for cheap, but you're going to pay for it with your time. And then you're going to have Cisco or Meraki, insert name of whatever other company that has a support plan with it. And they're going to take care of the setup and support, but then they're going to charge you ongoing fees. But those ongoing fees do come with the fact that you can pick up the phone and usually talk to someone depending on your contract and support levels. I'm not a Meraki user, so I don't really know all the details of their program, but hey, they're one of the big guys in the market and player in this space. So worth mentioning them. Now, my belief and why we got into UniFi was, well, I can take my knowledge we have collectively here at Lawrence Systems and our background in network engineering and say, this looks like a good product we can take the time to understand. And that was many, many years ago, maybe around 2013 or 14. I can't remember exactly when we started using the product. It's been a long time. And come here in 2022, have an entire series of YouTube videos all about the Ubiquiti equipment and how it works. We're extremely familiar with it. So we don't even think about calling their support. It's not even anything that comes up in our thought process when we're dealing with Ubiquiti things. We lab things out, we test them, we do videos on it. Then people contact us. We work with a ton of other IT businesses and IT business owners and managed service providers, the MSP space, and help them set it up. And to them, it's a nice one-time fee to pay to have us design, implement, and set up, and hand over control to them for hosting. The long term on that, depending on the number of changes or whether or not they need that many changes, most of the time it's kind of a set it and forget it. Hey, set these 10 access points up for us, help us spec out this client, build it, set it up, and done. Then you can charge, you as in the IT business owner can charge whatever you want and mark up our knowledge that you bought from us. You can do what you want with it, and it has a good long-term play on it. And when it comes to like the warranties and hot spares, it's what some of the problems with some of the Cisco equipment is it's going to be a lot more expensive. Now, I think Cisco makes a very reliable product, but it is nice to be able to have when a product goes wrong, a next day error or business agreement replacement. So it's replaced within X number of hours. But when UniFi being so cheap, I'm like, buy an extra. We've done this before when we've deployed like 300 access points at a client. They have a few spares in the back room because the internal IT team puts in there. They have all the same switches universally at all the different points where all the switches are to support those 300 plus access points. They just bought an extra switch to keep it in the back room. It's all the switches are the same, even ones that are now a little overkill. But that type of offering of support actually works out really well if you're willing to put the time into it. And I'm not trying to really influence people's minds. I don't get any commission, so to speak, if you buy Ubiquiti or buy Meraki. That's not where I'm going. I just like to throw data points out there because people always ask, what's your thoughts on using this? And these are my thoughts on using this. This is a discussion that comes up a lot. That's why I titled it, because I almost titled it like Meraki alternative. What's the best Meraki alternative? Because almost immediately people post that UniFi is, and it's because of the niche they're in. Now, I will also mention there's that free cloud thing that people really love to talk about. And this is where I think Ubiquiti allowing you to host a controller puts you in a better position than a lot of these other cloud providers. The problem is with the free cloud is someone's got to pay the cloud bill. Open Mesh is a really easy example of that. They were a company that promised you a free cloud, and we looked at Open Mesh because they were, early days. Open Mesh and Ubiquiti were kind of both these newer products that look kind of interesting to start digging into. But it turns out, my immediate assumption was Open Mesh is offering a free cloud. I don't know. Someone's got to pay the bill on that. I don't like the fact that I won't be able to host this. And then they came around, like, oh, no. Open Mesh was like free cloud forever. And I'm like, no, someone pays the bill forever. And I like to think you're going to pay the bill forever, but forever's a long time. Turns out Datto bought them. And when Datto bought them, no more free cloud, buy our services, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, all right, free cloud went away. So being able to host the controller made a whole lot more sense. The other thing interesting about the way UniFi works, and it's not just a hosted controller, it's a multi-tenant hosted controller. So we have a controller running many, many clients on it. That's not just a cool feature that I can host the controller. I can host it here, have my clients elsewhere, and have all their data so I can easily manage, see, and have visibility into their entire network. And I get that software without a license. That's actually pretty crazy. And from a Ubiquiti standpoint, I think it's pretty smart, because if they were to try to have these millions of endpoints hosted through a series of clouds, and Riley Chase has talked openly about this, about just how big his server bill is for what he does. So he talks about the revenue he brings in for HostiFi, but the other side of that is a lot of that revenue goes back out, and Vulture has sent him like a little thing for being one of their larger people in their data centers, because that has a cost to it. That's that whole back end cost. So when you take that cost and distribute it like UniFi did, going, hey, if we give them the controller, they'll put it in their clouds. And they did. So you end up with this very different dynamic. I think it's really smart on UniFi's part to do all of this. It's really hard for someone to try to come up with a competitive space without going head. You can't really go head to head with Ubiquiti unless you're willing to do exactly what they did at the minimum. It's a really interesting market that they've carved out for themselves doing this. Now, then the next question, of course, comes up, like, who else is doing it? And the only other company that's kind of doing it, but I lack the confidence in her product, because all they did was copy, and that's something they do well, is TP-Link. The problem is TP-Link copied, but had confusing documentation and just it didn't feel as polished. Also, if the only thing you do is copy someone with no improvement, no advantage other than a 10% price reduction in your hardware, you didn't really sell anyone on it. You didn't really give us confidence. And also the multi-tenancy and things like that was way more confusing to set up inside the TP-Link. So you have kind of some of those issues related to it. And I'm a little fuzzy on how fast, and I'm not calling them out because I don't know for sure. I only hear people in chatter. I didn't really dig into this. I was unclear on how fast TrueNAS updated Log4j. Ubiquiti was on it like immediately. And that's huge, because that was a vulnerability no one ever seen coming. And the fact that Ubiquiti was extremely on top of it made me happy. The fact that other companies were not is obviously where a risk factor comes in, because if Ubiquiti did not have those updates, the only other alternative is to shut off Ubiquiti and not publicly have anything transporting across the internet related to it until we fully understood it. The fact that they very much jumped on top of it gave an option and some confidence that, hey, they're on top of security. So this is all these factors that have to go into whether or not you're looking at, like, do you want to use this in your product line? Also, by the way, we had to actively maintain ourselves and be aware of things. So there's a level of responsibility on the managed service providers and IT people who are running this equipment, that it becomes one more thing that you do have to maintain, which, hey, maintaining these things comes with a cost. There is an expense with maintaining things. But those are kind of just my riff on it. I wanted to throw out here for the crowd and get this out of the way, and just add it to a data point for those of you that are thinking, about using it as equipment. What are my thoughts on it, and what should we do with it? Should it be used in MST IP space? Why should or shouldn't you? And that's just where it is a better discussion. Now, popular alternatives. I got to admit, Aruba, pretty popular company. I've done some Aruba stuff, and the Aruba things are pretty overall not bad. Their cloud is just really what's the word I'm looking for? Anemic. Just, it lacks a lot of deep features, but they do offer local interfaces on a lot of the devices. So if you have advanced use cases, but then it kind of defeats having a cloud option to monitor all of it. And then it's, of course, the Aruba cloud, not the self-hosted cloud. Then a lot of people ask me about Zyxel. No, Zyxel's had so many backdoors in it. I don't know why anyone would want to use a Zyxel stuff. That company's not been a good security company. So that's kind of my rant, getting it off my chest, getting off my soapbox. Fun, talking about Ubiquiti and things like that. I'm going to go through stuff. I got people saying hello from all over the place. Greetings from York in the UK. Awesome. I think I've seen you comment before, Simon. So welcome. Lots of hellos. Hello from Newmarket, New England. Or England, not New England. Cisco license is expensive? No, say it isn't so. Yeah, Cisco license is not only expensive, confusing. I gotta figure out if I can have. I want my friend on here sometime to talk. He's got to be anonymous on here, because where he works is a very large company that signs multi-million-dollar contracts with Cisco, and the shenanigans he showed me in some emails of arguing with Cisco, trying to redefine the word perpetual. Cisco found a new definition for perpetual license that apparently isn't. They redefined the word perpetual. They're like, no, we're pretty sure when you said we had a perpetual license on this, that means we have a continued license. And they're like, yeah, but we don't sell a perpetual license anymore. And my friend's like, but you sold us one. Here's the contract. So this renewal implies it's not perpetual. Well, they said, well, this is a new license. The silliness of dealing with these Cisco people and what they can try to slip in there. Yeah, Aruba Instant On. That's, like I said, a pretty popular alternative. If you were to pick an alternative, I don't think Aruba is a terrible company to go with. I have more than one friend that uses Aruba as like they're dedicated. We love Aruba for access points and firewalls, or not access points and switches. I think they use 48 for firewalls. Their preference. I'm not a big 48 fan, but whatever. Some people are. Yeah, Netgear used to have, I think they were trying to go the self-hosted route, but that's all gone. It was confusing looking through their stuff. They had at the time, Netgear reached out to me and asked me if I do videos. I tried just reading on it, and I replied. I said, "You have a lot of broken 404s," and sent them some links. And I think they said, "Well, we're trying to push our cloud thing with the subscriptions." I'm like, "Well, no, I'm not even interested in that." So. Any ideas on Syncthing on Synology? I did look at Syncthing of drop support. I don't know. I don't use Syncthing on Synology, so I have no idea. Hey, good to see Simon is a regular. Okay, so I've seen you before. We have seen you before. Ooh, Norway, Netherlands. Neat. I like Sweden. I like all these places, actually. I like the EHLO from Latvia. The old mail server things. I should start out everything with that. So yeah, Cadmium makes some nice stuff too. Cambium. I want to say their name because I keep thinking of nickel cadmium, nickel cadmium batteries. Anyways, Cambium networks they're popular in the WISP market. They make some really solid site to site stuff. Cadmium networks is good. Germany. Yes. So I've been watching that German show Dark, but I can't speak German, so you have to use the English subtitles. So I have the English dub over and things like that. But Germany's cool. My daughter speaks some German. She took an interest in the language, and then she taught me a little bit of it. The German language is interesting because it's like this. They just put things together and make a bigger word. Like, let's just describe this by setting all these things into one word. So it's kind of German language is interesting. How do you stack UniFi switches like like Extreme Networks does? You don't stack them. There's no stacking in UniFi switches. So they don't support like and I get the desire to stack them for management, but you don't need to stack them for management because their UI manages it, so you don't have to stack them for management. So the UI to me, I used to deal with, I think it was Samsung. I'm trying to remember the first stack switches I work with. And yes, oddly, I think Samsung was in the switching market. And this goes back to 1999. And it was a management thing to be able to stack the switches like that and get things working. So it was easier to deal, easier to manage it. So yeah, Franken words for the win. That's a good way. I would, if I'm an English speaker, learning some of the German is like that. We just are going to put the word together and describe it like this. So, I hope Ubiquiti would have stackable. So, no, they don't have. I don't know of any of their switches that are stackable. So, but to me, I mean, the stackable nature of them is cool if you need that single pane of management, but then you get that with the UniFi software, kind of meaning I don't need to stack the switch. So I don't really, I guess I don't understand the use case as well under Ubiquiti for stacking them. Dado switches or voice switches for Samsung. Oh, they were data switches for Samsung. They were really old. I mean, I'd have to dig. I want to go through sometime because I have it. Let me think here. Inside this folder is I actually keep things like this is all's in here. Hold on. This is actually my old employer from when would it let me read the date on my offer letter. May 11th, 1999. So here, I'll just pull it up. I pull out the person's there, but this is how long I've been working at this place there. Well, I used to work. That's how, and I'm a little bit of a data hoarder to some extent, but this is why I brought it up to show you that I still have my offer letter from when I started working there. I have all my documents from when I left that I had because the company tanked and I had a backup of all my folders. This includes all my emails from 1999 till the data backup occurred in 2004. So I got to actually pop a DVD player in here, but I'm curious. I want to go through all my old documents and notes I had because I was a big note taker back then of all the different equipment I used to use back then. And it's all, I have diagrams, they're all in Visio, and I'm pretty sure I can pull them out. But I was a big early Visio user, so I had diagrams of all the network and the map. I worked in enterprise IT all the way back then. So it'll be kind of fun to dig out all the names of all the equipment. I did Nortel administration. I had a really cool DOS-based phone server, which, by the way, I think is still loaded on this. So, yeah, this was, I converted the old IDE drive to this, and this is 256 meg flash controller powered off of a floppy connector. For those of you wondering, yeah, old stuff. I still have some of this. I don't keep many things, but this was small, so I kept it. But it might be fun to go through and do a old stuff. So yes. Oh, this is kind of cool. Looking forward to the business channel. Yes, there's been some really good progress on that. I'm doing the business channel. We got some logos drawn up. That's going to be, I haven't launched it. I created it, but didn't launch it because I wanted to put a lot more into it and I needed some friends to help. So yeah, there's new logo design and everything. There's a lot happening on it. It'll be announced pretty soon. It's probably a week away, maybe. So it'll be soon. Are you running 25 gig LCPs for sir? Happy with the performance over the months. With one of our clients that will, if you're referring to the project we did, yes, they're still happy. That's the petabyte server, had 25 gig connections in there. For us, we just have 10 gig connections here in our office. I mean, we had some 25 gig stuff that we set up, but ultimately what's in my production equipment, not my lab, my production equipment is still 10 gig because our data needs here at the office are minimal. So we don't really have, we don't have any 25 gig stuff in any of our production servers right now. Just my lab for playing. But we had a fun one today. I can't remember exactly how many terabytes of data it was, but we were building a server. We helped this company. We're doing all the consulting work and design. I don't know if they watch the live streams or not, but hey, if you are, they know us from YouTube. And we were so impressed. We did replication between their pair of IX system servers with 100 gig bonded interconnect. So the 100 gig network, let me just say, replication was amazing. Watching 100 gig network get saturated with really high speed drives to and fro was like, we're like, oh, wait, it says running. It says it's, oh, I must have checked the box wrong. It can't have run that fast. Oh, it did. It ran that fast and was like, that's beautiful. Doing replication over um, 100 gig network with flash arrays and fast drives is just a beautiful thing. It is just great. So Key Voice, was that the old DOS name? I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'm going to look it up. If I find it, it might have been. Was Key Voice what worked with Nortel, I guess would be the question. So would have been it might have been Key Voice. No, that's a different server board. So I don't think it was Key Voice. It was a DOS box that integrated with a whole bunch of cards in it for voice cards with our what do you call it? Our Nortel system. So it was a pretty slick setup. Oh yes, smash the like button. 33 likes. Yeah, 8 Nimble all flash storage array with 100 gig connections. Nimble, isn't it the one owned by HP now? Yeah, I think Nimble's now an HP company. I could be wrong. But now that I cover the UniFi stuff and throw a few network questions, I'm going to give it about 15 more minutes before I bounce out of here. But let's talk about a couple things. And hold on, how far can we go? All right. Share my screen. Share screen, Chrome tab. That is what my studio looks like now. It is way further than it was before. So this is the where the studio status is right now. My desk has been built. The some of the floors are in. The 2 tiles that are missing at the top here will be here soon. The ceiling is so black that my phone goes crazy trying to lighten it because it's like Vanta black. So this is what I've been busy doing. That's kind of kept me from doing other videos is all, and it's not just this, is I have an entire project. I was doing some more measurements for shelving that's going in. There's so many things, lots of measurements, photos, and trying to figure out what lights I want to put some background. So yeah, it's going to be, there's just a lot. Yeah. I went with building it myself. This is like the butcher block stuff you can get, butcher block countertop from IKEA. And if you can't tell, Tom wasn't at IKEA. Me taking pictures. And of course, they got the hand thing at IKEA. So my wife's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I need a selfie." That's so this is what happens when Tom goes to IKEA. But IKEA's got gaming setups or something now too. So there's that. IKEA's got like a whole gaming display. They partnered with I think Asus Republic of Gamers. I was looking at other stuff there, so I got to go back to get another one there. So yeah, are you gonna put your old networking devices at the background? That's the part I'm struggling with right now. I don't know. I need to figure out what I want to do for a background, and I'm not really decided on that just yet because I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to do something unique, and I'm overthinking the hell out of that. So what's going to be my background is a complete mystery. I can almost guarantee it's going to be gray for a little while because I'm being indecisive on what goes behind me. I know all the other stuff because it's already in front of me. It's now figuring out what goes behind me is so struggling right now. I don't know yet. because I actually have some friends who've got things like all their old equipment, or one of my friends is a collector, so he's got a whole wall of old PCs, Commodore 64s, all restored, and he mounts them all. So yeah. I've actually thought not just going green screen, just paint the wall green. It can be whatever I want, whenever I want. But I do have a green screen that goes behind me as well. There actually is a green screen that's part of my office space as well. So that does go up behind me. I actually have one from it's behind me now. Who makes it? Elgato. There's an Elgato green screen behind me right now. So could Google if you could network if your network is an open closet. Yeah, there's a lot. So like I said, I'm still yeah. Oh, Cody says he's got the Elgato as well. Yeah, it works nice. It's got the cool little scissors on it for going up and down. There'll be a studio tour once I'm done, but that's what I'm doing. As soon as I leave here, I did a bunch of functional business things today. I didn't have any time to make videos, and then I moved to there. The Ninja RMM stuff has been, a lot. So I actually got to work with. I'll probably be diving deeper into some of the Ninja stuff, and I might do some more videos on it. I'll be talking with them. I actually talked to other UI designers. I know some of the people there. There's some behind the scenes stuff a little bit where I'm interacting with Ninja, and we found certain things we didn't like about the way some of their product stuff worked. But the cool thing is they're really working on it. Like, we just didn't like the way certain amounts of data is presented, but we talked to them and they're really working hard to fix it. And so that's been exciting working with them. But of course, doing all that means Tom wasn't making videos. But the good news, what comes out of that in the longer term is better video, especially because today, the other people I talked with today was someone from Zabbix. So I really want to do, since Zabbix looks so much nicer, some new Zabbix videos. I get caught up sometimes. If you ever look at the video postings, you'll see like a drop off where Tom doesn't post videos. It's usually because I'm deep diving into a few topics or making some big changes. So how is the TrueNAS scale testing going? Poorly. I'm going to do TrueNAS scale testing much more as soon as I'm in my new studio, because I'm going to build my new studio for the system I'm using for all my videos, because I'm actually leaving some of the servers here, and I'm going to be replicating from my house where my new studio is the data back over here. So I'm going to leave the tried and true stable TrueNAS core servers here, and then at home I'm just going to run TrueNAS scale, because no one cares when I reboot things at home except for me. So I can, if I have an update or anything like that, I don't have to do it like outside of any production hours here. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to probably get a lot more scale testing done there. So do you deal with your ISP modem double natted? Mine's not. It sucks. There's some, like, an example would be where my dad lives. There's no such thing as not having double NAT. The providers in rural Michigan, my dad lives in the middle of nowhere. In some places, your only internet option is going to be double natted, and that's it. So you deal with it if you got it. There's only so much you can do. If it is, it is. In CG NAT is popular for some of these WISPs. So but it is what it is. I don't have a solution for it. It just means you probably aren't hosting anything in that scenario. I know a lot of people that live with it. It is, I don't really have a better answer for it. Move. Funny thing is, with some of my relatives, and I have a cousin who's that they make their living on YouTube as well. One of the things that determines where she has looked at to live has to do with where there's enough internet for her to upload videos on a regular basis, because it's one of those things, like, it is a real concern. And as you move out to certain rural communities, even here in Michigan, the farther northern reaches of Michigan are very disconnected technology wise. Like, there's just not the ability to have good internet. It was a factor when we were shopping for my house in 2020. One of the factors came in because I looked at some places that were a little further outside of town, but the internet was, if the internet was too bad there, it's like, no, I can't live here because I can't ever move my studio at home if I don't have good internet. So, yep, it's important. Just so you know, Ninja was well aware of your channel. Just asked me if I came because of your video software. Of course, I said yes. Yes. They they if we go over to, which I didn't even log in LinkedIn today. By the way, I'm on LinkedIn. I told a few people to connect with me there. Or was it? I think I can share it. Or can I even see it? Anyways, something like 40 people, 50 people actually went and reshared posts and activity posts. I've been so busy, I didn't even post all my socials. Where can you see the number of shares? LinkedIn is more difficult. I have a ton of people all working at Ninja One who shared my video on LinkedIn. So that's kind of what I was getting at. So yeah, this is kind of cool. They've been super helpful and nice to work with. And not just because of the videos. One of the reasons we switched to them was we thought they were a good company. All right, a few more minutes, and I will share something completely off topic. But it just made me giggle today. Maybe some of you will laugh with me, or just not completely understand the joke. But this made me laugh today because I was, letting my playlist roll, and so I started hearing like, "Hey, full tank unleaded," and I'm like, wow, like unleaded gas is an old thing they got rid of years ago here in America. Buying it at the pump. And then to go all the way further, I'm driving an electric car here and, I get a full tank unleaded. I'm like, there's got to be a new version of the song, or like I got a full charge. It doesn't have the same ring, but I kept trying to play on words with that. It kept making me chuckle for things like that. But yeah, this is my Tesla. I was stopped, obviously. See stop sign. I was stopped when I took the picture. For those of you go, but Tom, you took a picture and you touched your phone while you're in the car. Yeah, I know. So such is life. 6 more minutes. 6 more minutes. Get your questions in over the next 6 minutes for Tom just babbles on about things. I can share too the other things that are happening. Let me see. What else can I show? Let's see. Tesla. Yes. This is the other side of my studio, and I'll give a tour of all of this when it's finished. This is the other side of the studio. This isn't my studio space. This is a extra living space in my basement. For those of you that follow me on like Facebook or other socials, I posted some of this, but these are some of the other photos of the space that we're building. So it's not just I'm working on one thing, I'm working on two things. As I figured, if I'm going to remodel my basement, I'm going to also at the same time make a living space down there and make a space down there so I can do my studio as well. So that's all the fun stuff that I've been working on. It takes up so much time to get all this stuff done. I think it's going to go faster, but then it's not. Also, who knows what that is? So I was actually quite amused by this when I got this. It's for my snowblower, and I'm just like, whoever built the battery packs for this thing was a game designer. So I was like, these look like pickup power packs for a game. I was like, these are so cool looking. Let's see. Oh, they're great. I gotta admit, this is the Ego battery packs, and I was super impressed with how good the snowblower works. So yeah, mower, edger, everything, man. I heard good things about it. It's my first Ego stuff, and I was like, wow. Yeah, it's like Xbox themed. I mean, look at this thing. It's like cool looking. And then the battery packs and stuff. I'm like, someone like they got these little lights in them and stuff. That's just cool. That's just novel stuff they got there. Oh, someone will be interested to see this. This is the mess that's not finished yet. So the rack is coming together. This is the opposite. This is the back of the studio wall right here. His mother was a snowblower. Yes. Little by little, all this mess is coming together. I got to clean it up still. There's service loops on here that are big. That's why, excuse the mess. Excuse the mess that's over there. Yeah, when I'm done, there's going to be a lot more. There's because everything's going in there. Everything's going to be in there. What else? What else? What else? Oh, someone asked about hot sauces. These are pretty good. They're cayenne pepper and habaneros peanuts. So that's my recommendation for hot sauce. Blue Diamond almonds. You can find them most probably anywhere, and Blue Diamond is a popular brand. So I've never used Gravity Zone. I use S1. So I've never tried it. I have no opinion on it. Nice rack. Yeah, it's actually the same. I got this rack behind me and the one at my house. They're one, same type of rack. But I haven't used Gravity Zone and I haven't used CrowdStrike, so I don't really have any opinion. Although I was debating about this with my wife. I was like, we're spending a lot of money to remodel a basement. This is before the ceiling was in. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cheaper just to buy all of our friends a VR headset when they come over, and we'll have a meta basement? So, so that's, I was like, because no one cares then if it's just a meta basement. We can just all live in our own special VR, and no one cares what the real world actually looks like anymore. We have that dystopian future to look forward to, right? Status on the YouTube security cam video, maybe another week. I don't know. I'm trying to decide. I want to get it done sooner than later, but it's just timing. We have so many projects we're doing right now with Synology. We have Synologies everywhere on the other side of this wall. We have projects going one after another. We have another. Brett just bid 100. I think it's like 97. So we'll round up to 100. Roughly 100 cameras that we're going to be setting up on a Synology system. So we have a lot of Synology projects we're doing. And yes. Oh, my wife says no. Yeah, my wife is saying no. We will not build the meta basement. Well, I've already bought the ceiling and it's installed, so we can't do meta basement now anyways. Well, you still could. We could just not put anything else in the basement. Because, then we wouldn't have it. My wife's happy, though, because we put up, we have artwork in our living room now. So do we have another picture of it? Yeah. We threw some pictures up on the wall. She's happy about that. Because this is our upstairs space, and then this is how you get to the basement of my house is over here. Oh, no, I've shared too much. I've showed people the inside of my house with my IKEA couch. You can build the largest you can put the coolest things in your basement if it's all virtual. Doesn't take much to make my wife happy. It's the small things. Yeah, the I have, and I don't know, let me see, is there that is a Pioneer Elite system with some Klipsch speakers, and then you can't see them because they're behind me from where I stand. There's Klipsch speakers behind me too. So all my speakers are Klipsch with one exception. This is actually a Sherwin Vega over here. So the one that my wife is decided, and someone told my wife never to put potted plants on my speakers, but she did. And anyways, the Sherwin Vega speakers, my subwoofer. So everything else is Klipsch. I really like their products. So I talked about UniFi for the first 13 minutes of the podcast. You're going to have to go backwards. I have a 5.1 system. To me, that's adequate. Someone will go, oh no, you're not a real home theater enthusiast with only 5.1, which I'm fine with. I'm happy with the way it sounds. So I used to have a lot more stuff. Like anything, you get into hobbies for a little while, and you kind of slide out of them a little bit. So yeah. Serwin Vega does make some good subs, man. Serwin's really good. I assume you mean CV, but yeah. All right. This is the end of the podcast or end of the live show because I need to go finish the studio, and I need to keep working at it until it's done and staring at that wall until I decide what goes on the wall, because that's obviously a really hard part. So yeah. Let's see. I'm going to put a sound bar downstairs. The sound bars never sound quite as good as a real system. But they've come a long way. So the sound bars they've gotten a lot better with some of the Atmos and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on them. I've always been, when I used to be into, like, I had Macintosh amps and some really high end stuff back in the day. I was really more of a snob on that, and I shouldn't have been, because that's not a nice thing to do. But I was like, oh, you got to have this, or got to have this really high end stuff. But yeah, they've come a long way with things like sound bars and stuff like that. I'm gonna say they do a lot better. So let's see. Retro motorcycle. Yeah, I love my retro old motorcycles. So for music get ruined. Actually, Jay was talking about this on the our Q&A session yesterday for the Home Lab show, and Volumio, I think it is. Jay's got that set up on Raspberry Pis for part of his audio set up at home. Jay likes music a lot, so he's got a pretty easy setup on there. Arcade for a background, yeah. Yeah, soundbar. Well, that's because it is a bunch of small speakers trying to sound big. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone for smashing that like button. It is greatly appreciated. I will comment on this. I will do a video. I switched from Plex to MB. I like MB a lot better. Mostly I think the UI is more intuitive. Those are hating words. Leave your comments down below, because I'm going to stop the stream. But I think MB makes a pretty good product. In matter of fact, we kept having problems with Plex, and we don't know why, because we know it's not the system. Plex would just stutter a lot playing on our TV, but the same system running MB never does. And it wouldn't just stutter. It would stutter and then just stop streaming. And we can't find an error message. We went through several updates. I don't know. The only commonality is it did it on the Synology, but it didn't do it on the TrueNAS. So we're like, okay, I know it's something on the Synology, but I wanted to run Plex on my Synology. I switched to running MB on a Synology. Works fine. Same Synology. So I got nothing. So no, we are not. Tell Tom we need a pinball machine. No, do not. Now, if someone would like to send me one, even then, no, I don't want a pinball machine. I got a big area in the basement. I don't need to fill it with a pinball machine. So I will now, a standing arcade main machine running a whole retro cabinet. Oh yeah, I'm in on that. I'm fine with that. I don't want a pinball machine. I'm fine with the standing arcade machine though. Like one of the RetroPie ones. C said yes. She's agreeing with me on things like that. So fun. RetroPie Arcade. That I'm in on. I love retro games. So retro games, I'm all in. I'm mixed on the pool table. They take up a lot of space. I don't hate a pool table though. Pool tables are okay. Oh, my wife doesn't know it. I'm building a Pittsburgh toilet. Now she knows. She's in on the secret. She's gonna complain when I get home. She's gonna make me put walls around the toilet. But there will be a time when there will be a toilet and there's no walls. So for a brief period in my basement, We'll put the toilet in before we put the walls up around it. You're not. Yes, I am. Because that's the other, let me find the right angle here. That's the bathroom door, my office. So this is where the bathroom is actually going to be, is on the other side of my office. That way I don't got to go all the way upstairs to pee. So, we got Brett in here. He knows the guy. Well, Brett's probably coming over to my house. We're going to go put stuff up. Well, thank you all for joining. Thank you all for listening to me babble on about the other stuff. For those of you here for the UniFi stuff, I talked about that in the beginning. So hit the rewind button and start from the beginning. The first 13 minutes was me talking about UniFi. Oh, yeah. Dartbox. Yeah. Darts. We have it on. So. Found out the UDM Pro SE is the same 1 gig backplane. I just got mine set up yesterday and love it. If you like it, I'm not a big fan of the whole UDM line. I got a whole video on that, so I won't get into that topic. Thank you all for joining. See you next time.